In this video, I will be talking about two books only because I did not put out a video last week and I have a lot more books now to review. And if I just do one book at a time, I may end up forgetting the story by the time I get to reviewing that book. So the first book that I will be talking about is The New Mrs. Clifton by Elizabeth Buchan. This was published in August of 2016. The story is based around the end of World War II, so it is set around 1945. So the war has just ended, and this English officer, Gus Clifton, he's an army intelligence officer. He comes back home to England with a new German wife, Krista, and this happens much to the shock of his two sisters who live with him in the same house in England, and more to the shock of the fiancée Nella that he had left behind before the war. And this comes as a huge shock to them, and they cannot understand why Gus would do something like that, because looking at both of them, the German wife and Gus, they don't really look like they're in love, and Krista is clearly not pregnant either, so they really don't see any reason why Gus would marry her. So the whole story revolves around this mystery, and there is another mystery of a dead body that has been found in the same house, but in present day by the new owners of this house. And the story is set in post-war London, so it has a lot of post-war attitude and hostility, especially towards Krista, his German wife. And the story is also about these relationships that Gus had left behind, and now that he's home, everything around him has changed. So read the book if you like historical fiction. I liked it because I always find it interesting to read about how things would have been around that time, especially when a war has ended and people come back home. Okay, so the second book I will be talking about is Friends and Strangers by Courtney Sullivan. This was published in 2020. I think it just released in June. I was lucky to get it from the library so soon without too much of a wait. So this book is about Elizabeth, who has just moved to a small college town with her husband and a new baby from Brooklyn. And coming from New York City, she misses the big city, she misses her friends there, and she's constantly texting her best friend back in New York, and she's obsessed with this Facebook moms group that she was a part of back in the city. And she feels stuck in this small town, and she feels like she's not able to relate to any of the neighbors, and even her in-laws who stay in the same town. She's not really able to get along. And her husband works in this college, and after her husband leaves for work, Elizabeth is just at home all day. And they're also trying to find a babysitter, and they find Sam, who's a college student as well, who they think is perfect for their baby. So Elizabeth and Sam get along really well, and they become really good friends because Sam is this intelligent girl, and Elizabeth feels like she connects with her more than any of her other neighbors who are more or less Elizabeth's age. Even her husband and her best friend think that this is odd because Sam is their babysitter. And also considering the fact that Elizabeth is in her late 30s and Sam is barely 20. Sam absolutely admires Elizabeth as well. To Sam, Elizabeth is this cool older woman, and Elizabeth's house, her furniture, the food they eat, everything is so aspirational to someone like Sam. So the story is about their friendship and how they get involved so much in each other's lives. One of the things I really liked about this book is that since it's a very recent release, it talks a lot about what is going on in terms of economy. It talks about the Instagrammable lifestyle, etc. And small details of Elizabeth's house, like how Elizabeth has this $45 hand soap, and she also has a fig tree in her living room, which kind of shows the Instagrammable lifestyle that we are used to, and that which the babysitter Sam admires. And also small things in the book, like how the in-laws are from this regular middle-class American family, and you see how things that we use so regularly, like Uber, has actually taken away people's livelihood. So in the book, the in-laws are having to downsize and sell their house because the transport business that they had not been doing well, because now people are more comfortable just using Uber. And also it also touches upon how Andrew is Elizabeth's husband, and how Andrew's dad felt when Andrew moved to the city and changed as a person. So the book touches upon all these little things, and I found this very relatable because it is very much a story of the present. It almost felt like a time capsule for anyone who will be reading this book in like 20-30 years. So when I read it and I finished it, I was like, yeah, okay, it's a good, light, easy read. But then the more I thought about it the next day and the day after, there were so many layers to this story. And like the thing that I mentioned about the in-laws, and all these little things stayed with me after I had read the book. And initially the character Sam did annoy me a little bit in the beginning with her ignorance, but then she's just 20 and I think she's supposed to be like that. But other than that small issue that I had, I enjoyed this book. This was quite a long video, which is unlike my other videos. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will be back with another book review, maybe one or maybe two, who knows. Bye.